We are starting our first session of today's symposium. The theme of the session is Core of Truly Inclusive Dharma, Battling False Narratives. This has been a debate from many decades now because of many myths and the malinformation that as a citizens that we are being hearing about the trueness of the Dharma. So we have two stalwarts for this session. Of course, Swami Nirbhayanji is there as a chair of this session. And we have a speaker as Professor Mahadevan from IIM Bangalore, where he will be sharing his thoughts on perspective on Dharma and sustainability of the society.
Nitya Pratasmaraniya Swami Vivekananda Saraswati Maharaj Hubli Pradeshasya Adhyakshaha Swami Raghuvirananda Maharaj Anye Yatayaha Ramakrishna Mishantaha Mukhya Atitayaha Mahapurushaha Sahodari Sahodaryaha. I am very happy to be here today to participate in this symposium. Even before I start, I want to say a couple of things. If there is any kind of a program or any symposium organized by Ramakrishna Mission or on Vivekananda, we all must attend. Simple. You may ask me why. There is a nice shloka which says, Manushyatvam mumukshatvam mahapurusha samshreha durlabham trayimetat daivanugraha hetukam. Only by the grace of the Lord you get three things. One is to be a human being, to desire to self-evolve, and the company of great people. So these symposiums always provide that. The name of Swami Vivekananda will provide that. Ramakrishna Mission will provide that. I am very happy. You are all blessed. I am blessed to be here. The second thing I want to say before I get into my topic, I have been reading this Ramakrishna literature for probably 30, 40 years. There is something very interesting happening. I want all of you to know this. Initially, there were books written, published by Ramakrishna Mission for people like us. Complete works of Swami Vivekananda, for example. Or, Columba Almora lectures, philosophical lectures, and so on. But in the last 5 to 10 years, I find something very interesting. I think the mission is bringing out wonderful books. You take a theme, you take a particular idea and see how Swamijis have, particularly Vivekananda and so many Swamijis have thought about it. This kind of a collection is a very great work that is happening in Ramakrishna Math. I think every book of Ramakrishna Math is a great source of inspiration. So they are redoing the existing literature in such a wonderful way. I am very greatly impressed by the kind of things that are happening. I wanted to say this before even I started whatever I wanted to talk about. I have been asked to talk about Dharma. Now this word Dharma is, first of all, there are all kinds of ideas in people's mind. The moment you say Dharma, there are different ideas that comes to our mind. And there are so many misconceptions. There are very specific thinking in our mind, who needs it, who doesn't need it. So in the 15-20 minutes, I want to give you a very quick bird's eye view of what is this Dharma, why do we need it. I see a lot of youngsters here. This is very important for us to actually reflect on it. So I want to only talk about that. So there are 3 questions about Dharma. The first question is, why do I need Dharma? I think honestly, all these are fine. This is a frequently heard word in this country. ಏನೇನೋ ಧರ್ಮ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. I think this word we hear quite often, but nobody knows what is this and why do I need it. So why do I need dharma is a very genuine question for all of us. Because we think it is only for spiritual seekers or for some religious people, avarkella dharma bekle beku, namke yake dharma beku anta ee taraha ಒಂದು mental model. There is one Ravana tragedy which I will talk about. Why do we need dharma? I will talk about it later. But that is very important. One question, why do I need dharma? Please tell me. And the second is, what is this dharma? This is where the biggest problem is. Dr. Madan Gopal, a little bit he talked about it very nicely. He put a variety of words which he says perhaps may mean dharma. So who needs it? Where is it? This is another question that Swamiji very nicely said. This was in so much of in circulation several years, centuries back. Today we do not know what do we do with this. It is not in circulation except for the word. We don't even know the meaning of it. So that's the second question. And the third thing is, ಏನು ಪುರುಷಾರ್ಥ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಏನು ಇದು ಪುರುಷಾರ್ಥ, ಇದು ಧರ್ಮ ಏನು ಪುರುಷಾರ್ಥ ಅಂತ. ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಅನದರ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್. ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪುರುಷಾರ್ಥ, ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಧರ್ಮ? ಸೊ ಐ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಗಿವ್ ಅ ಲಿಟಲ್ ಬಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ introduction to these ideas so that you start thinking. Because the great seekers, the great gurus have inspired us only to think about this notion of dharma. That's why our culture itself is called Sanatana Dharma. That is a very word. It is not Hinduism at all. Is a word coined about 150 years back by the Britishers. For compulsion we use, because somebody is a Christian, somebody is a Muslim. So okay, let me also give a word. So it's called Sanatana Dharma. So our culture itself is called Sanatana Dharma. So what is all this? So let us understand that very clearly. Let us take a simple idea. So I want to drive a car. Okay? What do I need? This is a simple question which all of us can understand. If I want to drive a car, first I need a license. Without a license, if you drive a car, you are not following dharma. You need a license, right? And when you go and ask for a license, they test you for there's a written test, there is a driving test, all that they do. We'll keep that aside. Think of two people. One person says, I never want to drive a car ever in my life. Nanu driving madode illa. Ajivana. Itkoli. One person is like that. The second person who says, I want to drive a car. Now please understand, the first person does not need license. The first person does not have to know anything about the road rules. He or she does not even need to know what is red color, what is amber, what is green, nothing. Or ಅಲ್ಲಿ sign ಮಾಡಿ ಇಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, the cross ಮಾಡಿ ಒಂದು arrow ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಏನು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಬೇಕಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. A person who never wants to drive a car does not need anything to know about any of the rules. Whereas a person who wants to drive a car, he or she must know. You have to go on the left side. ರೆಡ್ ಸಿಗ್ನಲ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂದರೆ ನಾವು ಹೋಗಬಾರ್ದು, ಈ ಥರ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಬಾರ್ದು, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ ಏನೇನೋ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್, ವಿಚ್ ಅವರ್ ancestors are saying, dharma is nothing but vidhi and nishedha, do's and don'ts. Why do you need do's and don'ts? If you are in vyavahara, you need do's and don'ts. We are in a world. The world is nothing but vyavahara. Let this college be there, your family is there, there is a small function we are doing. We want to drive a car, we want to do this, we want to do that. Whenever we have to engage in activity, which we are all the time. If we are all engaging in activity, what we need is some codes of do's and don'ts. Otherwise, it will be utter chaos. Don't you think so? So the first simple definition of dharma is nothing but a bunch of vidhi and nishedha. Very, very fundamental. Without some do's and don'ts, how can you do anything? It will be complete chaos. So therefore, that is one way to understand dharma. Right? There are so many words which are being... So the moment you say when you are in vyavahara, we are in vyavahara in different ways. Today, at this point in time, I am a speaker. Evening I go home, I become a father. Tomorrow morning I become a professor. Day after tomorrow I become a vice chancellor. Because I am wearing different caps as a person. Morning to evening, that is true of every one of you. Sometimes we are a part of a family, sometimes we are a part of a society, sometimes we are part of an organization where we are working. Sometimes we are a part of a group because we are, young or middle-aged or elderly. So many, we wear different hats in our life. So for everything that we do in our life, it will work only when we know what is to be done, what is not to be done. Today you go to a company. First thing they will do is they will tell you what all things you should do, what all things you should not do. In fact, Bangalore ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇರೋ ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ವೇರ್ ಕಂಪನಿ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಹೋಗೋಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಬೇಕು ನಿಮಗೆ. ಆ ಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಒಂದು ದೀಪಾರಾಧನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಅಂದರೆ ಓಪನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. If you are not able to do the arati, you cannot go in. So do's and don'ts starts from there. If you are a visitor to a company, you cannot go anywhere. There will be one small room, you have to sit there. You will be respected. But the rules are such, there is a way to handle things. So therefore, in this country, you will find Yuga Dharma, Kala Dharma, Ashrama Dharma, Samanya Dharma, Visesha Dharma, Apad Dharma. Which society has thought in so much detail, please tell me? Because all these start from a fundamental understanding, as long as we are all in Vyavahara. When we will not be all in Vyavahara, all of us are in coma. Then no Vyavahara. We cannot breathe, we cannot know what is happening around, all of us are in a bed with oxygen going through your nose, then you don't need dharma. If we are in action, if we are part of something, then you need a set of do's and don'ts. If you don't have those do's and don'ts, it will be utter chaos. In fact, all the chaos that we have today is we have given up dharma in many places. Main road nalli go on the left side andre right side hogtare. Is no entry in the health andre alle nanu hogtini. The educated people have this great problem. If they cannot violate a rule, that day they cannot sleep. Simple rule you have to violate. Minimum. No entry andre nanu hogtini. Right side hogbardu nanu hogtini. Illi cross ಮಾಡಬಾರದು ನಾನು cross ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. Otherwise it looks like we won't sleep. Modern education has not told any of this to us. There is no class on dharma. I don't know how many of you had one course on dharma. You come to Chinmaya Vishwavidyapit, we actually run a course on dharma. We have a separate course on dharma we want to do. That's what I did in that university. So dharma is required because it is an occupational convenience. Please understand. Without dharma, it is utter chaos. And wherever you have taken dharma out of the system, it is all chaos. So we don't have to go from and learn from the foreigners, which we are trying to do today. We don't have to. We have to understand the corpus of dharma that we have. That's why Swamiji said that in Sikshavali he says dharmam chara. That's what is satyam vada dharmam chara. That's what it says. The teacher says, remember do's and don'ts, otherwise it is all chaos. There is another reason. Look at this shloka, it's a nice shloka. Ahara nidra bhayam, maitunam cha. Samanam etat pashubir naranam. Say ahara, eating. Sense of fear. Sakala jivarashigalugu untu. There's a sense of fear. Ahara, bhaya. Nidra, sleep. Everybody has to sleep. Right from the one-celled amoeba up to us, we have to sleep. We may not understand how it is sleeping. But everybody has to sleep. Maitunam, take care of bodily pleasures and requirements. All these are equal between an animal kingdom and a human being. But a human being is different. Because if you try, this is what modern society is doing. Modern society, we are competing with the animal kingdom. Why? We are competing only on sensory pleasures. Please understand, you will be an utter failure when you compete with the animal on sensory pleasure. You put this much of food in front of a pig. Have a meter to measure the joy it has while eating. You eat your favorite food. Your needle will not even go like this. Animals are wired for sensory pleasure. Modern Western education that we are actively imbibing is we want to have only sensory pleasure, nothing else. ಒಂದು ಜಪ ಥರ ಒಂದು ಇಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಈ ಥರ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದು ಕೈನಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಹಾಕ್ಕೊಂಡು. Some gadget must be there all the time. We want to always have only sensory pleasure. Whereas this shloka says, that means you are equal to an animal. What is so special about human being? That's what it says. It says, dharmo hi tesham adhiko visesha. There is something special called dharma. And those who did not follow it are equal to animals. So the second reason why we need dharma is simply because God has created this as a very special entity. In the whole pecking order, human being is put at the top. And you want to come down and then compete with some next level of creatures in the name of sensory pleasures? So if we want to compete on sensory pleasures, we don't need dharma. But if you want to evolve, if you want to understand who am I, if you want to do that loka sangraha, the greatest good for the greatest people, Swami Vivekananda said, give me 1,000 young men, right, who have this like a steel, I will change this whole universe, he said. How? Because they will be infused with dharma, the desire to do something larger good. These are all special features only human beings can do, nobody else can do. So we have been wired to do something, but we don't want to do. So this is another reason why we need dharma. So why do we need dharma? And who needs dharma? Everybody needs dharma. Only those who are in coma, who are unconscious right through their life, they don't need any dharma. Because what vyavahara they are doing? Nothing. Otherwise, every one of us, that's why there is eti dharma also, there is a brahmacharya dharma, there is a ashrama dharma, there is a varna dharma, everything is there. So if you ask who needs dharma, it's a simple question. Everybody needs dharma. We don't have to waste much time talking about it. So because every kind of dharma is available, there is a kala dharma. See, what happened 50 years back will not happen now. And what happens now will not happen 100 years from now. It will constantly change. There is a set of ideas which will change. See, in Taittiriya Upanishad, there is one Rishi's name. They are very interesting if you read Upanishads. Maha chamasya pravedayate. There is one Maha chamas. You know why he is called Maha? Chamas means spoon. Maha chamas means that man who had the biggest spoon to do the yajna. So today we will say the person who had the biggest cell phone with him. Because that is the Kala Dharma. Today names will be like that. Name at that time is Maha chamas. Maha chamasya apatram Maha chamas. Apatyam. So Kala Dharma, things will change. Ashrama Dharma. When you are a brahmachari, what you should do. When you are a grihastha ashram, what should you do. When you are a vanaprastha, what should you do. Otherwise it will be chaos. We should know what are the do's and don'ts of every stage. Only then we will attain things. Stri Dharma, ladies what must do, Purusha Dharma, Pitru Dharma, everything is there. You just read the first 39 sargas of Ayodhya Kanda. You don't have to read too much. First 39 sargas of Ayodhya Kanda, you will understand what it means to, Pitruvakya Paripalana. Greatest conversation, greatest temptations, greatest challenges which this great character called Rama addressed. That's Putra Dharma. So everybody needs Dharma. There is something called Samanya Dharma. Ahimsa Paramo Dharma. Now I just want to, people don't understand many of these. I want to ask how many of you in this room want to be cheated? Please put up your hand. Somebody should cheat you. Lie left, right, center to you. How many of you are very comfortable with that? Nobody will put up your hand. How many of you are lying in your life? If you are honest, many of us will put up our hand. So the Samanya Dharmas are Dharmas which are to be followed by everyone. You cannot say, I will lie, but I don't want others to lie me. You cannot say, I will inflict violence on you, but you should not inflict violence on me. How can you say that? These are called Samanya Dharma. Basic cardinal principles of living. Satyam, Ahimsa, Asteyam, all those are Samanya Dharmas. Then you have Vishesha Dharma. If you are a head of an institution, you have to take certain decisions. If you are a head of a family, you have to take some decisions. When the mother sees the child not eating, she gives a slap. She is full of love. But she gives a nice slap. Only with that slap, that boy starts eating at the age of 2. That's called Vishesha Dharma. That's not called Himsa. That doesn't come under Himsa. A doctor will tear open somebody's heart. There is no Himsa there. It is called Vishesha Dharma. Contextually, we have to trade off in a broader principle of what it is and do right thing. We have thought about all these. That's called Vishesha Dharma. There is something called Apad Dharma. When there is something in great danger, there is a house in big fire, and there is one lady sitting there or one small child sitting there, you cannot bring some other aspects of dharma and then watch the fun. You are not supposed to do it. There are certain dharmas which are to be transgressed, stepped over. Why? Because it is apad dharma. So rules of the, I'll give you a simple example. I had in my institute, IIM Bangalore, I had one driver, car driver, absolutely a fabulous person. When some crisis happens in the institute, some accident happened or something, this man will give instruction up to my director. He will assume that role. It is called Apad Dharma. He will give instruction up to the director, chief, or when you do this, you do this. Nobody takes him for offense. Because he transforms into a role where he has to solve the problem. He is a driver. We all love him. We did not tell him, you should not talk to the director. You are supposed to ask the secretary to take permission. Before he takes his secretary's permission, talk to the director. Director may perish in that particular situation. So that is called Apad Dharma. So there are different dharmas. All of us need multiple dharmas. We need to understand that dharma is a very, very important thing. Now, what is this dharma? All these are fine. You told us different dharmas are there. What is it trying to do at the end of the day? What is this dharma all about? Now, so many definitions are there. I will tell you the most powerful definition which I have found for myself using English is sustainability. Dharana dharma yutyahu. The word dharma comes from a Sanskrit root called druin. Druin dharane. It's all behold, support. So what is dharma? Dharma is that which supports, sustains the world. That's what the shloka says. Dharana dharma ityahu dharmo dharayate prajaha yasya dharana sanyuktaha sa dharma iti nischit. You know where this shloka is coming in Mahabharata? There is a very interesting episode. When the war was going on, there was this agreement that Yudhishthira must be protected by Bhima or Arjuna all the time. Okay, he is the king. If you lose the king, finished. War is over. The protocol was the king is lost, the war is lost. So there was an informal agreement that either Bhima will protect Yudhishthira, or it comes in Karna Parva, or Arjuna. It so happens at one stage, Yudhishthira is left alone. And Arjuna was supposed to take care of Yudhishthira. Something happened, he left Yudhishthira alone. So Yudhishthira was badly damaged, badly hurt. Fortunately, Bhima was able to come to the rescue, and then they come that night. In the tent, there is a heated argument between Bhima and Arjuna. Yudhishthira is there, Krishna of course is there. So Bhima says, what is this Gandiva, what use is this Gandiva? I'll just break it and throw it. Then Arjuna says that my dharma is anybody talks ill of my Gandiva, I will kill him, so I am now going to finish you first. So Krishna is there. There are 10 shlokas, beautiful shlokas in Karna Parva. It comes there. Krishna says, what do you know about dharma? Arjuna, what are you talking? What do you know about dharma? You are talking some nonsense? You are talking for a larger cause? Do you know what dharma is? There is this shloka comes. Dharana dharma ityahu. It should support what? It should support the goodness. That's why in Bhagavad Gita he says, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanihi bhavati abhyuttanam. It comes up, adharma. Abhyuttanam adharmasya tada atmanam srijamyaham. Krishna says, I take incarnation because I don't want dharma to be disturbed. Dharma is called sustainability. Now, there are 1,000 ways you can understand this Avatara Purusha Mahima. I'll give you a very joking understanding of this. In Bangalore, where my institute is, that road is a very notorious road. That Banagata road is supposed to be the most notorious road. Traffic jam and all that. I find something very interesting there. Morning 9 o'clock, in a 4-way junction, half a kilometer from my place, educated people have a simple habit. What you should do is, if there is a small little space, you have to insert your vehicle and start honking. This is all education has taught us. If there is a small space, somehow go and insert there. That's the end of the story. You attain nirvana. Finished. And then you keep on honking. Now, one uneducated person from the slum has to come and fix the problem for you. He will come. I see it all the time. This person will come out of his hut. He is not going to office anyway. You are only in hurry. He will come and then he will start directing these great educated people. You wait, you go. Even then some people misbehave. He will say like this and all that will happen. finally this traffic will be cleared. What is happening here? There is unsustainability here, that he is also a avatar Purusha for a smaller cause. This is a notion of avatar Purusha. What is avatar Purusha? When something is unsustainable, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya dharma samsthapanarthaya, to re-establish. This is a fundamental principle of dharma. That set of actions anybody takes which become unsustainable will be sorted out. That is the job of dharma. So that is the meaning. So dharma means what? Modern day sustainability. For that you need Yuga Dharma, Kala Dharma, Ashrama Dharma, Sri Dharma. You look at all of this, you will understand. You have to do things which are for larger good, which are sustainable, which can work in the long run, not today morning. Because that problem with that people is, I want to go first. Nobody goes finally. It's all traffic jam. So that is dharma. It is all vidhi and nisheda. And if we choose to violate dharma, the Lord will respond. Which ways you do not know, but the Lord will respond. That's what Krishna is saying. That's why I gave this example. This person from the hut is the avatar Purusha now. You violated dharma, he fixes it. In a small way, I am giving this example. This is a fact of life. In this you are able to see. In some bigger things you are not able to see. But then that is what really happens in the name of dharma. Can you move to the next? Now where is this dharma placed now? All this is fine. Where is the dharma placed? So we have what is called purushartha. See, today everybody asks, I have a goal in life. Our ancestors also wanted to define it. Purushanam arthaha purushartha. Everybody has to have something worthwhile in their life. That is called purushartha. So our ancestors also defined all that. Suddenly we think only now in the last 50 years, 100 years we have understood everything from the West. Before that there was nothing. This kind of a maya, this kind of a hallucination is what we are. Swami Vivekananda came and then sorted out some of them. There is much more work to be done, which we will continue to do in our small little ways, whatever. So there are 4 purusharthas. Dharma, artha. Our ancestors said that we are all there? We are all there because we want to have a sense of fulfillment in life. Why do we study? Why do we work? Why do we do this? Why do we do that? At the end of the day, we want a certain fulfillment of life. We want to feel happy before you go to bed. That is the fundamental purushartha. Now our ancestors said the purusharthas will happen there are 4 components to it. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Now this order is extremely important. We have to understand this. You cannot say it in any other way. Please don't try it. Although today what is happening is, originally what should happen? Dharma. First it should be dharma. Don't violate sustainability. You will pay the price for it. Dharma first. Dharmasya anusara artha. As long as you don't vitiate the larger principle of sustainability, find your material wealth. Arthasya anusara kama. Your desire is conditioned by your whatever material. Today it is all reversed. The Western paradigm today is different. Kama eva purushartha. Kamasya anusara artha. If you don't have money, we will give you a credit card. Don't worry. I will give you a credit card. We will see about it later. So kamasya anusara artha. And if I want to fulfill this desire, somehow I will find money. I will violate all the rules. We have unfortunately gotten into, these are all very temporary. Don't worry. I am never pessimistic. These are all very temporary. What you see in 50 years can never be the character of a country. This country is time immemorial. As old as age, the age of this country is as old as rocks and rivers. So what happened in 50, 70 years is not my worry. I am only telling you what is happening today. You read 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, you will understand where you will land up with if you do all that. Krishna has given everything. If you mess up and if you think you are very smart, you are doing things, you go and find out. When you violate dharma, what will happen? One full chapter he has given. Devasiri Sampati, go and read very nicely. He has explained what will happen and so on. 16th chapter and a little bit of 17th chapter. So, the order is very important. We should understand dharma alone triumphs. Dharma meva. Important. Now, why is this important? I will now take the Ravana episode. See, these great epics and Puranas have to be read in a particular way. Please don't read it with logic. The biggest problem Indians have made to themselves, They have joined hands with the Westerners and laughing at some of this logic. And my simple answer is simple. My simple question is, why do you see cartoon TV? I ask people. Because to the extent a grasshopper cannot drive a car, it cannot sit in a dining table and eat, it cannot have a conversation with a cockroach and a tiger and so on, yet people see cartoon TV. Why? Not with logic. If you start seeing cartoon TV with logic, you have to switch it off. Cartoon TV is meant to give you some very nice principles of life for the growing kids in their own ways. The entire Indian wisdom, you should never read it with logic. You will be an utter failure. Westerners read it because they don't know the cultural background. We should not read like that. If you read Ravana's episode, you read a 5th Sarga of Sundarakandam. Just go and read Sarga 4, 5, 6 in Sundarakandam. There's a beautiful description of Sri Lanka. When Hanuman got in, he walked on the streets. What did he find? Beautiful description. There is a Veda Gosha, there is riches, there is this happening. Soldiers are so orderly, walking and marching, song, art forms, all that. Yet, 140 sargas later, what happened? City was burned to ashes, completely nullified. City was completely burned to ashes. What do you understand? If you build a castle without a foundation, it can destroy any time. It can destroy any time. Don't build riches, don't build your wealth without dharma. You don't know which day it will fall. That's why dharma is very, very important. If you read Ramayana, you find such a great city is reduced to nothing. And if you ask what was the difference, what is the reason for that? The reason is it was not built on the edifice of dharma. Those which are not built on the edifice of dharma, whether it is your personal life, whether it is an industry, whether it is a nation, they will all perish. 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, 100 years, 200 years, nothing. 200 years is nothing in the history of nations. So that is what I mean by this Ravana episode. Look at the Kedarnath floods. People call me to talk about this dharma violation. People call me to talk about nature, and I say, Professor Mahadevan will talk about how to protect nature. I say, you can never protect nature. If possible, you protect yourself. Nature does not need a helping hand from you at all. Please understand that nature does not need any helping hand from ordinary mortals like you and me. Nature knows how to protect. That's what it showed in Kedarnath. I saw 2 photographs. The 2 photographs are identical. One was taken 100 years back, one was taken in 2013. One was in black and white, one was in color. The nature required 2.5 hours to wind the clock by 150 years. Why? Because we unwittingly destroyed dharma. Krishna says, Parasparam bhavayantaha shreyaha param avapsyata. Paraspara bhava, mutual dependence, is a cardinal principle of dharma. You have to coexist with nature. Otherwise, dharma will not, it will just come back and then finish it off. That's what I mean. How many great kings, business leaders, how many Mount Mohan Singhs have disappeared? Because dharma is very, very important. Great kings, Hitler, Mussolini, you take so many history, they may appear to be great, they will just go. Because the element of dharma is not there. That's very, very important that we should know dharma. I'll end with just one slide and then leave it to Swamiji to give. So I want to tell you only 2-3 messages. What is all this dharma and what should we know? Please understand, greatness is important, but what is important is goodness. In fact, Valmiki Ramayana, Valmiki compares Ravana and Rama and put both of them on the equal pedestal when it comes to greatness. That's why he said, Rama Ravanayor Yuddham Rama Ravanayor Iva. Gahanam Gahanakaram Sagaram Sagaropam. He said, how can I give a similar, Upama for Sagara? The Upama for Sagara is Sagara. The Upama for open space is open space. There is nothing parallel. Rama Ravanayor Yuddham Rama Ravanayor Iva. This is a shloka in Ramayana. So Valmiki said, when you analyze Rama and Ravana, they will be equal in greatness. Ravana was a great character, perished. Why? On goodness, he could come nowhere near Rama. One who follows dharma alone can have goodness. Those who violate dharma can be great. There is no goodness. So I want you to understand what is dharma. Dharma is to bring goodness in you while you aspire for your greatness. That's the first message I want to give. Develop this belief in this fundamental axiom, dharmo rakshati rakshitaha, dharma eva hato hanti. Please understand. If you protect dharma, dharma will protect you. If you destroy dharma, it will come back 1,000 times like the Kedarnath floods. Understand this axiom in life. You will not see it in front of you, but you should understand this belief. This belief is very important, otherwise you will not be very successful in life. You will be a defeated person at the end of 70, 80 years. You will ask what is happening and so on. Learn to measure your success, fame, wealth and knowledge using the lens of dharma. For such a great, intelligent boy that this country produced, Narendranath could have actually become materially very big. You should read some of the things that Swami Vivekananda has gone through when he was wandering, when he was a wandering monk. That greatness, along with that goodness, came because it was in the lens of, it was all, prepared in a nice, crucible of dharma. I think that is the inspiring message we need to take. I take this opportunity to thank Swamiji and all others for giving me this small little opportunity to share some of my thoughts. Thank you.
What a wonderful presentation, in a way that is most appealing to the modern mind. All these things are there. They are very much there in our epics. We have that voluminous Mahabharata, mass of literature, Ramayana, etc., etc. But the thing that is very important, which we are lacking today, is the presentation of these marvelous truths is not taking place in the language that is understandable and appealing to the younger generation, the modern generation, which Professor Mahadevan has marvelously accomplished. And I don't think there is a doubt for any of the students or any of the section of the audience here that has got any doubt, that has got any hesitation to accept the things that he has presented before you, for the reason things were so logically put forth and there is no room for any sort of hesitation at all for the acceptance. Yes, true. This is the real constitution that India was led by. The Supreme Spirit, the one that has been sustaining this whole universe, perhaps can tolerate anything but not an undue deviation from the order that he himself has set for, that is dharma. Krishna has not said, I will come when poverty comes. When poverty engrips the whole mankind, take Arjuna that I am going to emerge. That is not the saying of Krishna. Krishna has never said that. When people lack in knowledge, even that is no concern for the Lord, the supreme ruler. Then what is his concern? Order should never be violated. It is the order, order, order. Yes, order has to be there. Unless you maintain certain, atmospheric, certain conditions in the laboratory, the required product that the chemistry professor is intending to have will never come. Every time we come across some product through the knowledge of chemistry, a mention is invariably made under the experiment, under the laboratory conditions of temperature and pressure. Unless you maintain some temperature, unless you maintain some pressure, the process will never give the desired product. So not only that the process must be there, aiming at the reconfiguration of the constituents of these matters that are interacting with each other, also essential is the conditions under which the experimentation has to take place. So the condition in which mankind should sustain itself, a country should sustain itself, a country should prosper. See that dharma is intact, artha will automatically follow. Mahadevanji, he touched upon that. Vyasa has said that at one point, Urdhubaho viromyesha, nacha kaschit shrunotame, with my hands raised, I am climbing before the whole mankind. Urdhubaho viromyesha, nacha kaschit shrunotame. Unfortunate, no one is lending his attention to me. No one wants to hear it. No one wants to take it. Urdhubaho viromyesha, nacha kaschit shrunotame, dharma arthascha kamascha. Follow dharma, the artha and kama will automatically come. Because in the course of following dharma, what is very essential is the mutuality. One is very powerful, haves, to say it in the terms of economics, there is haves and have-nots. There are strong and there are weak. There are rich and there are poor. How is it? We are all simultaneously living. How can there be any order? How can there be a compatibility, a harmony? The rich can grind the poor, the powerful can grind the weak. But there is something that is checking them, that is preventing them from not doing so. That is, they are all committed to, or they are all checked with some sort of a principle that is called as dharma. It is for dharma to protect the poor and not to exploit them, a rich man is said. And as long as he is an adherent of dharma, which he has to be, he is supposed to be, the poor need not be afraid at all. The weak need not be afraid at all. So there is a code of conduct that is universally accepted, that is collectively relevant. For an individual, dharma is necessary. For the collectivity, equally, it is rather more necessary. If you violate this order, what will happen? There will be clash. There will be clash. Russian Revolution is a product of that clash. French Revolution is a product of that clash. All these violent revolutions. We want violations, but what exactly is revolution? What is revolution? Kranti. Kranti is needed, but what sort of Kranti? The greatest revolution is the enlightenment of the mind, resulting in the improvement of character, observes one great Western thinker. The real revolution is the enlightenment of the mind. This is what exactly India believed in and India followed, scrupulously, consciously. India followed it consciously, India followed it scrupulously. That Vedas, all the Vedas, is a product of that enlightenment of the mind, resulting in the improvement of character. Vedas are a great revolution. The emergence of Bhagavad Gita was a great revolution. Emergence of every Upanishad is a great revolution. Today's physicists are amazed at that. If you recall to your memory the observation of Fritjof Capra, who till recently was a professor in the Berkeley University, he says, the scale of this ancient myth, referring to Upanishadic truths, the scale of this ancient myth is indeed staggering. It has taken mankind more than 2,000 years to come up again with similar concept. The quantum physics, you say, for example, the general relativity, for example, they are all the concepts very well known to Indians in ancient times itself. The scale of this ancient myth, Capra terms it as ancient myth. The scale, the extent, the beauty of this ancient myth is indeed staggering. It has taken mankind, he means West, more than 2,000 years to come up against, because India saw revolutions. India brought out revolutions. India went on bringing out one revolution after another revolution. Vedas were found, Upanishads were found, Gita was found. So many other things also came to be found. Shankara came, brought out a marvelous revolution. Ramanuja came, Madhva came, and so on and so forth. Recently, Vivekananda and Ramakrishna combined came and summed up the whole thing in a beautiful, harmonious way. So this has been the cultural legacy of India, cultural history of India. We, or rather you, the younger generation, should know all this, whereby you can grow proud of your background. Vivekananda himself expects every Indian to be proud of his ancestry. He used to say, I am one of the proudest men ever born on this earth. Swamiji has said this, I am one of the proudest men ever born on this earth. And I trace my pride to my ancestry. It is my ancestry that has given me that pride. Because Curzon says empires existed in India when Europe was still living on the branches of trees. Lord Curzon, who was definitely not a friend of India, while he was Viceroy, after he relinquished the office of the Viceroyship in India and went back to England, became the Chancellor of Oxford University, during which time he makes this observation. Empires existed in India when Englishmen were still living in wilderness, and India has contributed more than any other terrestrial unit to the philosophy, history, and religion of the mankind. This is India's legacy. So with this, with the knowledge of all these achievements of our ancestors, how much proud we can be. And that pride ultimately will result, when harnessed properly, when mellowed properly, into what is called as confidence, self-confidence. This is what exactly the present day generation is very much lacking. We are lacking in that mindset, the true mindset that is needed for victory when you are embarking upon any venture. Confidence. Why you are not so much confident? You don't know your past. You don't know the quality of your blood. You don't know the value of your blood, the ability of your blood. Only 15 days ago, an American friend of mine telephoned, an NRI in America, telephoned. Recently, White House has brought out a list of 10 most influential teenage students in America. White House has brought out this report very recently, 15 days ago, not long ago, only a fortnight ago. 10 most influential teenage students of America, White House brought out the report. Friends, remember, 8 of them have been Indian students. 8 of them have been Indian students. That is your blood. That is your race. Vivekananda refers to this blood while he was talking to Jamshedji Tata during his sojourn, during his travel from Yokohama to Vancouver, during his first trip to America. Tata, I have studied thoroughly all Indian philosophical works and also Western philosophical works. The sense of or the ability to analyze things, to go for that analytical approach towards any subject that Indian philosophers have exhibited has no peer in this world. Westerners stand nowhere in the analytical faculties that Indians exhibited in the days of yore. That is what exactly that is needed for a scientist to become a great scientist, and Indians have it in plenty all along the history. Therefore, please see that you develop some research institute in India, in Bangalore. That was rather a mandate that was given by Vivekananda Jamshedji Tata, which he followed, obediently took it, and he started one research institute in Bangalore today, which we call as Indian Institute of Science, which used to be called as Tata Institute in days that have gone by. So this faculty that is there in plenty in you is the thing that is to be used up for the regeneration of India, through which we should aim at the regeneration of the mankind at large. So examples are in Abdul Kalam used to say, amazing, innumerable, amazing success stories are there in India, but unfortunate, we do not know. And as a result, we feel intellectually impoverished, academically impoverished. We think we should get everything from the West, which is rather suicidal. So nothing is to be, as Mahadevanji used to say, nothing is to, I am not sectarian, I am not rather confined. I always believe in the philosophy of interchange, exchange and all. There are certain faculties, but you have such faculties in you as would definitely make you a race that is of its own class, that is of its own greatness. So, therefore, it is India that has been shedding light, that has been giving light to the whole of the mankind all along. It is also the observation of Voltaire, one of the greatest European thinkers, that Pythagoras came to India for his higher learning. And so many such people have come to India for higher learning. Why they came? Why did they come? They came because they had so much to learn in India. They came to India because India had so much to offer. But where do we stand vis-a-vis what we were? Where do we presently stand vis-a-vis where we stood? Who should rebuild this India again? Which was a great dream that Vivekananda had in him. He cherished in him. Who should rebuild India? Should someone else do it? Or Indians themselves will have to do it? We have the ability. We have every equipment. We are designed for that. We have every type of ability in every sense of the term. But why this complacency? Why this lack of confidence? These are all the things that should trigger our mind again and again, that should ultimately make us set ourselves to the work at hand, the challenges before us. Mahadevanji has done a marvelous work. I think it is time for you to go for interactions. If you have any questions, rather, you can freely ask either me or Professor Mahadevanji and seek an explanation for the doubt or the question that you have in you. Thank you.
Those who wants to have any questions, we have 2 mics or the are kept over here. Please come over here and you can pose your question.
The mics are here in the front, both the sides. Please do come and ask your doubts. Whether in English or Kannada, no matter, you can come forward and ask your doubts on the topic that has been discussed. Somebody, aged persons, if you are there, I can come for you and give the mic.
Excuse me, my name is Mallikarjun. I am working as an accountant in one CA firm. So there, in that organization, I am always follow dharma and sincerity, hard work and dedication. For that, I got only partiality, negligence. Can you please, if you are providing honest work, sincerity, our dedication, then also why I got only for these things, negligence and partiality. Can please me explain me?
So I think his question is for Mahadevan sir.
Okay. So, first of all, I want to clarify to you your dharma. If you follow dharma, whether I do not know whether you will get a salary, you will get a pat on your back, or somebody will say you have done a great job, or even if you have done a great job, somebody said that you did a great job. ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಆಗುತ್ತಾ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. But if you follow dharma and you really pursue dharma, what will happen is your heart will be full. Your heart will be full. Now the heart full ಆಗಿತ್ತಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ಯಾಕೆಟ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ತೊಂದರೆ ಇರಲ್ಲ. This is everybody's experience. There is something called brain and there is something called heart. Brain is all about ego. ನನಗೆ ಅವರು ಇದು ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ, ಅವರು he has not recognized me, he has not given me what has to be given, he has not given me promotion but he gave promotion to somebody else although I worked very well. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಇರಲೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. That is all the more reason we should follow dharma. If you follow dharma and if you pursue what is your swadharma, swadharma is related to swabhava. So therefore you are in a particular way and you followed it, I can tell you 100% these issues will be there, but this will not be a showstopper for you. It will not stop you. You will continue to do a great job. What you missed today, with more than interest, God will bless you later. So my simple advice is follow your dharma, and these small little things happen in life. But in much later in your life, you feel very satisfied because you all the time fill your heart. So always remember, if you follow dharma, you fill your heart. You may not fill your pocket, which we do not know, but definitely you fill your heart. That makes you a great person as you grow.
Thank you, sir. Next question, please.
Good morning, everyone. So, as per the results of dharma, I am satisfied. So, how do I influence others to do the same?
No, if you do a great job of dharma, somebody who is very dharmic, somebody who has followed principles of dharma is contagious. You don't waste your time. You don't worry about it. If you are such a shining personality who followed dharma and who are able to demonstrate that I could... See, why are we talking about Swami Vivekananda after 150 years? In fact, I ask my students in my class, name one person who lived 500 years back. Then they give me some name. Then I ask, name some person who lived 1000 years back. Then they give me some name. I ask, name some person who lived 200 years back. They give some name. The only common you will find with all of them is they may not be the richest person. They may not be the person who are famous. What is common with all of them is they were all made a difference to the world and went. They did a loka sangraha to such a level. So therefore, if somebody follows dharma, I mean, you do not know what you are going to leave impact of. You don't have to worry about it. If you follow dharma, you don't have to waste too much time. How do you make others follow dharma? It is contagious. It is so pure and good that the commodity is scarce, we are not finding it contagious. But wherever there are enough. You followed dharma because somebody inspired you. Nobody asked you. Somebody inspired you. So I think that lies the strength. Please follow your dharma. You will find your followers. You don't have to ask. You don't even know who they are. They are eklaivas for you.
We have another question.
Good afternoon, sir. Since you're from IIM background, I just wanted to put some corporate aspect. See, with connecting to do's and don'ts, which you discussed, sir. There are few do's. Being a manager, we know that is don't for an organization, but still organization push us to do their do, but we know that do is don't for an organization. So in this aspect, which dharma to be followed, whether the company does or the as an employee, as a responsible person, we know that do is a perfect one.
So there are no two opinions about dharma. First of all, let us understand that. There are no two opinions about dharma. If I have three opinions, either it is lack of clarity or lack of conviction. Dharma doesn't have 100 different versions. So I understand your question. Okay? So what will happen? There are only two things will happen. In fact, my study says when a person leaves an organization, 90% of the time he leaves the manager, not the organization. A person resigns an organization, he doesn't resign an organization, he actually leaves the manager. The manager was bad. The manager was forcing him to do adharma. This is category 1. Manager made me do adharma. Institutionally, it was not the case. He wanted to become better. You are his pawn in his hands, therefore he does. There are a few situations in which the organization is bad. My understanding is, I think if you had an iota of dharma in you, it is a matter of time you will make your choice. You will understand that being dharmic is far more important than this salary that you get today. One third of this country does not get more than one food. You and I may be blessed, we get 2-3 times of food every day. One third of this country does not even find food for once in their day. So we will get that courage. We will say, I'll leave this job because this doesn't fit into the cardinal principles of dharma. I will find another job. Until I find my another job, I find inner strength. Dharma is all about inner strength. Therefore, these issues are to be resolved. There are some Vishesha dharmas that we have to understand. There is a dharma sukshma. Dharma is not that simple as we try to explain. That's why in Taittiriya Upanishad it says yukta. What you should do, you should ask somebody. The Guru says, yukta ayuktaha aluksha dharma kamasyuhu yata te tatra varteran tata tatra vartetaha. You may always have this doubt. What should I do now? There is this dilemma. Moral dilemma, ethical dilemma. I think you should be able to find a very good person whom you believe has a certain notion of dharma. I think his counsel is a wise counsel. His or her counsel is a wise counsel. I think that's how we should resolve this problem. We should not live with the eternal conflict in life. Nothing will happen. We will only find life better for us, for a few disturbances that may happen here and there.
So when we have a last question from there. This is the last one. Professor Mahadevan will be here till in the evening. Please, you can also interact with him during the break. So this is the last question.
Sir, in our day-to-day life, we see many people violating rules and dharma. So what do you expect from us? Do we have to stop them or let the karma do the fate?
I think, hello, I should give Mr. Mahadevan a little bit rest. They try to correct them. You try to correct. Most of the times, the corrections better should come through precepts rather, practice rather telling them anything vocally. You grow to be such a personality that it is not necessary for you to tell anyone to follow you in the style of life that you have adopted. There are certain mindsets that are not vulnerable for easy stimuli. They want some sort of a powerful stimulus to get an impulse thereby. For them, we need to definitely tell. We can tell, I think what you are doing is wrong. Please better correct yourself in a very polite, loving language. We can tell. Or we can bring it to the authorities who are authorized to bring the correction in their behavior and all that. The authorities will have all the power in their hands, which they can exercise and bring the order back. That also can be done. You can try so many ways. I cannot say anything specifically sitting here. We cannot understand what sort of a situation is that and what would be the best model for bringing back the situation to the normalcy, to the position that it is acceptable for a right thinking personality. So think what is good at that time. Exercise your discretion and come to some conclusion and act upon.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So we had a wonderful session 1, giving the bird's eye view of why dharma is very important for an individual upliftment and also for societal welfare. So now I request Swami Nirbhayanji to felicitate Dr. Mahadevanji on all of us behalf. Okay, sir, fine, sure. So in the interest of time, right, now we break for a tea. So tea is served on the downstairs. Because we are running a little bit out of time, please be quick to have your tea and come back in another 10-15 minutes. And also we have a bookstall over there. Please go through the bookstall.